When you think about the whole concept of architecture, um, the foundational premise is always permanence.
Right, exactly. Stability.
Yeah, like you pour a concrete slab, you frame the wall, secure the roof, and, well, the structure just stays put.
It creates this rigid boundary between you and, the chaos of nature. It's supposed to be predictable.
Predictable, exactly. But the source materials we are unpacking today, they tear that fundamental assumption completely to shreds.
They really do. It's wild.
We are looking at a geographical and, frankly, biological impossibility
Hmm.
that forces us to totally redefine what a shelter actually is. So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here for this one. It's a lot.
It really is. We are examining this incredibly unsettling set of documents detailing something known as the living architecture of Blackwood Forest.
Which is just a crazy title on its own.
Right. And our mission today is to dissect the anatomy of this impossible structure, a building that functions not as a refuge from the elements, but, well, as a living, breathing, predatory organism.
And we should probably establish the parameters of this anomaly right from the start.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the materials we are analyzing do not describe like a haunting or a spectral event.
No ghosts here.
Exactly. There are no ghosts or phantoms. We are looking at documented real-time observations of a massive physical entity that completely defies our current understanding of biology and physics.
It's the literal definition of a predatory landscape.
Yeah, it really is.
I want you, the listener, to picture a scenario for a second. Imagine you are driving through this heavy, relentless rain.
Just absolute torrential downpour.
Right. You're out beyond the county limits, completely lost on some old logging road. Your GPS is glitching out, jumping all over the map.
We've all been there with the bad GPS.
Yeah. But then you break through the tree line,
Yeah.
and sitting right there in the middle of a dead pine forest, where there are no power lines, no access roads, and absolutely no history of construction, is this massive 3-story estate.
Just waiting there.
Just waiting.
And here's the detail that should trigger every single alarm bell in your head. Despite the torrential downpour all around you, the house itself is perfectly dry.
Which is just terrifying to think about.
It really is. Like,
Huh.
how much would your own curiosity or maybe even your financial ambition cloud your judgment in that exact moment?
Well, that specific vulnerability is precisely what snared the first subject in our source text.
Right, the real estate agent.
Yeah, a guy named Daniel Hayes. He encounters this structure purely by accident when a storm reroutes his navigation system.
Which is just terrible luck.
The worst. And the documentation provides a meticulous description of the exterior. It reads like an architectural Frankenstein's monster.
I mean, the photos described are just bizarre.
Totally. It's this amalgamation of conflicting styles. You have ornate Victorian windows set right adjacent to ultra-modern glass balconies.
And the brickwork, right?
Yeah, the brickwork abruptly changes color and texture mid-wall. But the text specifically notes it didn't look ruined or abandoned. It looked like it was waiting.
Okay, let's unpack this. I'm struggling to wrap my head around the physical mechanics of that.
It's definitely hard to conceptualize.
If this is a biological organism,
Yeah.
how does flesh and blood mimic Victorian glass or fired brick? Like, is it just a very convincing optical illusion?
What's fascinating here is that the working theory based on the text isn't an optical illusion at all. It's actually extreme macro-scale biomineralization.
Biomineralization.
Yeah, think about how microscopic diatoms pull silica from water to build perfect glass shells.
Oh, wow.
Or how mollusks construct intricate calcium carbonate armor. This organism appears to secrete biological equivalents to mortar, glass, and wood.
That is insane.
Right, it arranges them into a highly sophisticated camouflage. But what makes this camouflage so insidious is what it actually targets.
The greed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If an animal encounters a trap that smells like a predator, it flees. But this entity doesn't smell like a predator to a real estate agent.
No, it smells like a payday.
It presents as an undocumented, multi-million-dollar property hidden near valuable land.
It's acting exactly like a deep-sea anglerfish, dangling that glowing lure in the pitch black.
That is a perfect analogy.
But instead of a bioluminescent light, the lure here is prime real estate. Even so, any rational person seeing a dry, impossible house in a rainstorm should immediately put the car in reverse and floor it. Why doesn't he run?
Because the organism relies on human greed to completely override basic survival instincts.
Wow.
It masks its predatory nature with the overwhelming illusion of financial opportunity. Daniel is so thoroughly manipulated by this presentation that he actually tries to list the property.
I still can't believe he did that.
He literally places a sign out front reading, "The Blackwood Estate, private wooded property price negotiable."
It's just so bold.
The trap is so effective that the house doesn't even need to hunt Daniel initially. It turns him into its own baitcaster to lure in more prey.
So if the lure is that effective, what actually happens when someone takes the bait? The text details this couple, Mark and Elise Warren, right?
Yeah, they were looking for a vacation home.
Right. Daniel brings them out to the property, promising this cozy cabin interior. But before they even cross the threshold, Elise asks, what interior? Because the outside is so massive and bizarre.
And that's when things shift, because once the bait is taken, the house begins its digestion process, and it starts with the mind.
Digestion.
Yeah.
Before they even get eaten.
Yeah. In many predatory ecosystems, digestion doesn't begin in the stomach.
Oh, like spiders.
Spiders or venomous snakes, for instance. They inject enzymes that break down tissue long before the prey is swallowed.
Ugh, gruesome.
Very. This house operates on a similar principle, but its initial digestive enzymes are entirely psychological.
Okay, explain that.
Well, Daniel specifically remembers the foyer from his first visit as being narrow, with red wallpaper and a curved staircase.
Right. Very specific details.
But when he enters with Mark and Elise, that space is completely gone. They find themselves standing in a massive dining room with long tables and dusty chandeliers stretching into the dark.
Wait, I need to push back on this a little. Are we dealing with a hallucinogenic effect here?
What do you mean?
Like, could the house be releasing some kind of airborne spore or neurotoxin that just alters their perception? Or is the actual physical matter of the building reassembling itself in real time? Because shifting an entire room's layout would require a massive expenditure of energy.
It's a great question, but the evidence strongly points to real-time physical reassembly, combined with targeted psychological isolation.
So it's actually moving the walls.
Yes. The source material notes that as the three of them walk through the structure together, they experience completely conflicting environments.
At the same time.
At the exact same time. Elise insists there is a second floor. Mark is adamant there is no upstairs whatsoever.
That would make you feel crazy.
Exactly. They look into one room and see children's toys scattered across the floor. They look into another and find it entirely empty, save for wet footprints leading directly into the solid walls.
It functions exactly like a social media algorithm, but
Yeah.
constructed out of physical matter.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Think about it. An algorithm feeds you a highly customized, isolated reality to keep you engaged and off balance. The house is feeding each individual a unique, deeply disorienting layout to isolate them from their companions.
That is spot on. Sensory deprivation and spatial disorientation are classic tactics used to break down resistance.
Cults do it all the time.
Exactly. By feeding them conflicting data, the house forces the victims to doubt their own senses, and more critically, it destroys their trust in each other.
It isolates them mentally before it isolates them physically.
Right. It dissolves their grip on reality, making them far easier to consume without a fight. Elise eventually remarks that the windows keep moving,
Wow.
and Mark realizes the entire structure is breathing.
Like literally inhaling and exhaling.
Yes. They actually manage to flee, and obviously they don't buy the property, but their visit sparks rumors, and everyone who subsequently visits describes a completely different house.
Which is terrifying,
Ah.
because a trap that waits patiently is terrifying enough. You can avoid it once you map its location.
If it stays put, sure.
Right, but a trap that chases you is an absolute nightmare. And the source text indicates a severe escalation in the anomaly's behavior.
Yeah, the nocturnal movements.
Exactly. After sunset, the house's GPS coordinates begin to shift. Sometimes it's miles north. Sometimes it appears directly in the center of Blackwood Lake,
Just sitting on the water.
just sitting there. A local hunter even reports watching his GPS monitor and seeing the physical icon of the house moving slowly through the trees.
The organism is transitioning. It's going from being an ambush predator to an active stalker.
I have to ask, though, how a three-story estate moves through a dense forest without leaving massive trenches or being constantly flagged by satellite surveillance.
Well, if we look at certain types of slime molds or fungi, they don't walk in the traditional sense.
They sort of ooze.
They reabsorb their trailing edges and rapidly extend their leading edges. The house might be migrating by deconstructing its rear architecture and rebuilding its front architecture simultaneously.
So it's sort of flowing through the woods.
Right. Alternatively, it could be moving largely subsurface, like a massive root system, only fully protruding when it stops.
That makes sense.
And the dense canopy cover of Blackwood Forest, combined with its tendency to move only at night, provides significant camouflage against satellites.
And the subsequent disappearances confirm it is actively hunting.
Yes, the body count starts.
The first is a photographer running a paranormal channel named Lucas Green. And here's where it gets really interesting, folks. The details surrounding Lucas are deeply unsettling.
They really are.
He goes into the house at 4 p.m. At 9 p.m., his social media accounts post an automated message that just says, "The rooms are getting smaller."
Such a chilling final post.
And then he vanishes. But days later, search teams find his camera hanging from a tree almost 20 miles away.
20 miles.
Yeah, the memory card is filled with hundreds of photos, and no two rooms are the same.
Which is huge, because the camera serves as a crucial piece of objective mechanical evidence.
Oh,
It answers your earlier question regarding neurotoxins or hallucinogens.
because a camera can't hallucinate.
Exactly. A camera does not have a biological brain to be tricked by spores. If the lens captured hundreds of completely different rooms, the house is objectively generating new spatial dimensions and mass in real time.
It is physically building itself as a maze to trap him.
It's adapting to him.
And it doesn't stop with Lucas. We get the disappearance of a teenage couple out exploring the woods.
That one is heartbreaking.
Yeah, their car is found abandoned near the logging road with the doors wide open and their phones still inside. But scratched into the fogged-up windshield is the phrase, "It followed us home."
That phrase radically alters the threat profile of this entity.
How so?
Well, "it followed us home" suggests the organism's territorial boundaries are not confined to Blackwood Forest.
Oh, God.
Once it locks onto its prey, it can track them beyond the tree line. It isn't just waiting for people to wander into its domain anymore. It is extending its reach.
Because the psychological hook it plants is just as dangerous as its physical movement. Which brings us back to Daniel Hayes.
The real estate agent.
Right. He stops trying to sell the property, but he becomes utterly consumed by it. He starts hearing creaking floorboards in his own apartment.
He got in his head.
He obsessively tracks the tiny black icon on his GPS maps just wandering through the woods.
Obsession is just another form of being consumed. It's the final stage of that psychological digestion we discussed earlier.
So it's reeling him in.
The house planted a hook in Daniel's mind on day one, and it slowly drags him back to the forest. He drives out into the storm at night, and the navigation system degrades completely.
The voice on the GPS just stops giving directions and emits nothing but static.
Which is a classic sign of the anomaly's localized interference.
When he finally finds the house waiting in the lightning, it has evolved. It has grown an entirely new third floor with black windows and faint warm light glowing inside.
And he doesn't run.
No, he just walks right through the open front door.
He completely bypasses the initial traps and walks directly into the core digestive tract. And the exterior architectural illusion degrades the deeper he goes.
Yeah, the source text describes the interior as smelling distinctly organic. Not like mold, but like a living animal.
A wet, heavy smell.
He touches the walls, and they are warm and soft. I want you to imagine that sensory experience for a moment. Imagine pressing your hand against the dry wall of your bedroom and feeling a steady, rhythmic pulse.
I'd pass out.
Right. As Daniel climbs the stairs, the air gets hotter, and the walls begin pulsing beneath, peeling wallpaper like veins under skin.
It's shedding the house disguise.
He reaches a long hallway on the newly grown third floor where every door is slightly ajar. And inside those rooms, he finds the missing people.
Lucas and the teens.
Yes. They aren't ghosts. They are physically present, but they are incredibly thin, pale, and completely emptied out, just staring at the walls.
See, the organism doesn't kill its prey immediately. A bear or a shark consumes its meal quickly.
Right, it's about calories.
But this anomaly keeps its victims in a state of suspended animation, slowly siphoning their energy over extended periods.
Lucas actually speaks to Daniel. He warns him that the house keeps changing the exits, and then he delivers this haunting line. He says, "It learns people."
It learns people. If we apply biological and technological frameworks to this anomaly, the house is functioning as a massive organic neural network.
Like an AI.
Very much so.
Yeah.
How does a machine learning algorithm improve? It ingests massive data sets, analyzes patterns, and refines its outputs.
So the people are the data.
The organism is doing the exact same thing, but its training data is human consciousness. By absorbing the minds, memories, and spatial understandings of its victims, it learns how to be a more effective mimic.
It learns what scares us.
It learns how to construct the exact hallway or room required to trap the next human. The missing people are literally functioning as processing nodes within the house's biological computer.
That perfectly contextualizes what happens to the environment next.
Yeah.
Because the house physically inhales.
A massive breath.
Daniel hears this huge, slow draw of breath from deep within the structure. The walls actually expand outward. And as the house exhales, warm air rushes down the corridors carrying hundreds of overlapping murmurs.
All the voices.
Yeah, it isn't haunted. It is echoing with a digested consciousness of everyone it has ever absorbed. Daniel finally runs, but the house is fully awake now.
It knows he's there.
The hallway twists. Doors vanish. Windows suddenly open into dark underground tunnels. The staircases start folding upward like ribs inside a giant body. The text explicitly states it is rearranging itself to guide him somewhere.
Every living thing possesses a stomach, and Daniel just walked right into it. He's being aggressively funneled.
He slides into this impossibly deep underground chamber. The room is pulsing in the dark. The walls are wet, black, and contracting around enormous wooden beams that are half swallowed by flesh-like growths.
Just a horrific intersection of architecture and biology.
And embedded in these fleshy walls are trophies.
Well, they are essentially waste products.
What do you mean?
Consider the biological mechanics of an owl. An owl swallows a mouse whole, digests the organic tissue, and then regurgitates a pellet containing the fur and bones,
The stuff it can't eat?
the inorganic or indigestible materials. The house operates on the exact same biological principle. It digests the consciousness and organic matter of its victims, and it pushes the indigestible materials, cell phones, shoes, jewelry, and human bones, out into the walls of its lower chamber.
That is a profoundly disturbing image. But the most shocking element of this underground chamber isn't the bones. Daniel hears a soft, childlike voice behind him.
The little girl.
Yes. He turns around and sees a pale little girl wearing muddy vintage clothing from decades ago. And she tells him three things. She says, don't make it angry, and it keeps the ones it likes.
We have to evaluate her presence, though. Is she a victim who's been kept alive in suspended animation for decades, or is she an avatar created by the house to communicate?
Like a puppet.
Given the neural network hypothesis, it is highly probable she is one of its earliest victims, integrated so deeply into its biological computer that she now serves as its mouthpiece.
So what does this all mean? Because her final statement is what really lingers. She whispers, it moves because it's searching.
It's on a quest.
Before Daniel can even process that information, the floor splits open beneath him, and he falls into the darkness as the house breathes around him. And, well, search teams never found Daniel Hayes.
No, they didn't.
The official record simply states he was lost in a storm in Blackwood Forest.
The official record often ignores what it cannot categorize. It's easier that way.
Obviously.
However, the data persists. To this day, campers in that region report stumbling across unfamiliar, perfectly intact houses deep in the woods where none should exist.
And the GPS issues.
GPS systems inexplicably malfunction. And late at night, satellite imaging still occasionally captures a massive structure wandering slowly through the forest canopy.
This organism completely upends our reliance on navigational tools and, honestly, our understanding of where things belong.
It ruins the concept of a map.
It really does. So to our listener, the next time you are driving through a rural area, maybe the weather turns bad, your GPS loses its signal, and your map glitches out.
It happens all the time.
If you see a building sitting just a little out of place, perfectly dry, looking maybe a little too inviting, you might want to look twice.
Keep driving.
You definitely want to keep driving, because taking shelter in the wrong place could mean becoming a permanent fixture in the architecture.
Just another node in the network.
Exactly. At the top of our deep dive today, we talked about blueprints. We expect a wall to be dead wood and stone. We expect permanence from the world we build.
A rigid boundary.
But this anomaly leaves us with one final, truly chilling thought. Think about those words from the little girl in the basement.
It moves because it's searching.
Right. If this massive, intelligent, predatory structure has been wandering the earth for decades, absorbing minds, growing smarter with every person it digests, and moving constantly because it is searching,
Yeah.
what exactly is it looking for? And
Yeah.
far worse, what will happen to the rest of us when it finally finds it?